Salutations everyone, this is Razor giving you guys another deathless speedrun as we try to go through the entire roster of the game, and this time we're going to giving you guys a Pharah, another defensive speedrun as we are not going to allow this enemy get anywhere really near the point for very long at all. And Pharah is a character that I saw myself increasingly gravitating a lot more, especially when it came to like halfway through Season 2. I believe she ended up being my third most used character in Season 2 and my most used DPS character, just because she fulfills such a niche, unique role. She's the only character that for the vast majority of the time is in the air. Obviously D.Va can fly for a little bit, Genji can fly for a little bit, Mercy can fly for a little bit, or very long if she's pocketing a Pharah, but obviously isn't going to be doing any damage from the air. So Pharah is very unique in that aspect. And she doesn't have any damage drop off with her primary fire, and she can boop people, and she is a big squishy vulnerable target in the air. 200 health, no shields, no armor to speak of, and if you are not careful with your movement, can be quite the sitting duck. We've all seen that Pharah doesn't have very good ultimate, probably the least useful ultimate out of all of the offensive characters, I would say. We know that she has a hard trouble completing her ultimate, let alone completing a sentence, because justice reigns from doesn't matter if it's your teammate or an opponent or you yourself. Very often that is what you will be hearing out of the Pharah. She doesn't do a ton of damage with her ult, and it makes her super duper vulnerable, so it's one of the worst ones in the game. And when it comes to the offensive heroes, where all of their ults are about getting kills, hers definitely lags behind. But she being so unique in that she's really the only character that can have a long sustainable flight pattern, she has a big role in many different comps. She's really good against Reinhardt's because she can fly above the shield. Sure, you can trace behind the shield with Tracer, or you could strike with Genji, but really to be the most effective against a death ball where people aren't paying you much mind, or a Reinhardt that's out by himself a little bit too much, you can boop him into an unnecessary painful situation. And there I almost do not finish him off my ult as the Zenyatta is giving me guff, and I'm only able to get the kill on the Mei there, unfortunately, but we were lucky enough not to die, let alone to get a kill. So Pharah is really good at harassing people from afar because her damage doesn't have any drop off. She's got an explosive radius. Obviously that got nerfed a bit, so she's gotten some buffs to her movement, obviously, to help her sustain her flight, but also a nerf to the damage that she has been able to deal. And we haven't seen a ton of Pharahs. Everyone's like, oh, hit scans, that's the answer to Pharah, just get a McCree or a soldier. But with the mobility and able to use the statue, for instance, or walls or buildings as cover, if you're smart with your movement and you're at a long enough distance to where, say, a Roadhog can't hook you, so 5 miles at least away from the Roadhog, then you'll be safe. Reaper isn't going to be able to snipe you. Tracer's bullet spread isn't going to do very much if you're super duper far away. So, and McCree's got some drop off, so you really basically have to worry about the snipers. You may say, well, not Hanzo. There are some good Hanzos out there that kick my ass when I'm Pharah, that make me switch. Obviously Widow is a fantastic pick. Ana is really, really good against Pharah because it's a hit scan and no damage drop off, and it's a debuff, so yeah, it's going to be very effective. But if your movement is on point with Pharah and you keep your distance and you pick the right targets, it can be very, very difficult for the opposing team to have an answer, even if they're trying to fill a role it's just catered towards stopping the Pharah. Because sometimes you see that soldiers, they're like, that's my job, I know that I'm the best equipped for that mission, which is true, but at the same time, as long as Pharah can position herself right and the enemy team, or your team, can do some good job, and I get transcended through my ult right there, so no kill that time. I was keeping a more respectable distance, but had to finish off that Reaper so he doesn't get any ideas about capping that point. And a lot of people don't utilize her concussion shot very often when it comes to movement. You may have seen some capture the flag gameplay from me or other people where you're using that to get off so you don't waste your jump jet, so you can sustain your flight a lot longer, but it's also good to just get out of there. Obviously you want to boot people into wells or off stages, and Some people are going to try to fight dittos in the air with your Pharah against Pharah gameplay, and those are always, that's the worst ditto in the game, is the Pharah ditto, just because even if you're both really good Pharahs, not very often are you going to be, you know, hitting each other on the fly, because you're both flying and it's a slow projectile. So things can be quite difficult and annoying in that matchup. But Pharah is a character that we're seeing more of. People are starting to utilize her. People are starting to be more safe with her movements, and people are really starting to respect what she can do from the air. So just a little 13-0 speedrun with the Pharah, as somehow I get play of the game. You know, with these quick games, the play of the game is like always a crapshoot. You see, I mean, look, I got 1 kill from an ult there, or 1 assist from an ult, and then I cleaned somebody off. It was an objective kill, mind you, but there wasn't a lot to choose from, especially when it's a quick game and you don't let anyone get near a point or get many ults. So there's a speedrun, Pharah, 13-0. As always, we're going to try to do every single character on the roster. I got a couple more in the bank for you guys. That's going to be fun to go through. And 3 gold medals and a bronze where there wasn't much objective to be had because we just stopped them. So thanks for watching. Like, dislike, comments, follow me on Twitter. You know what to do.